Hi everyone, welcome back to the Chasing Past Golf podcast. First of all, wish you all a very Merry Christmas when it comes. It's definitely an exciting time of year, and I am joined by Hannah Holden, who joins me from. I presume, I presume you're in Yorkshire, yeah?
I am in
I
Yorkshire, yeah.
presume so.
The accent gives it away, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit. But Hannah, thanks so much for coming on. I do realize you're a very busy person at the minute, so like for you to come on, it's really appreciative. First of all, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Just trying to wrap up all my Christmas presents or find a few more to wrap up.
Yeah, you were briefly saying that off air that you've not really finished Christmas yet, and I've not even started. So yeah, there you go. Spoiler alert. Leaving it to the last minute as per usual. It's just it's the same old me every single year. Like I don't know what it is. I just can't seem to get presents in early and then get them wrapped and less stress. But I seem to stress myself out about it and leave it till last minute. So that's not great, is it?
Usually I'm not that bad, but I don't know. I went away filming at the start of this month, and then I was like, oh, it's nearly here.
Yep. And yeah. Obviously, I had a media trip to Malaga for the last Ladies European Tour event, and yeah. As soon as that finished, I'm like, oh shit, it's Christmas. Yeah, forgot about that. It's just
The
sometimes,
LET does run really late, and like it's still Q school this week, which is very close to Christmas.
yeah. I mean, you were so actually while we're on the subject of the LET and Q school, you were mentioning like some of the cost prices actually just briefly off there to enter like the LET school. Seems pretty steep. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I guess if you look at Q schools across all tours, like it's pretty expensive. But yeah, I have some friends who's entered, and you're looking at like 1,500 for your entry fee before you even set off. And obviously you got to get to Morocco, pay to stay there. The whole thing runs for 2 weeks if you stay the whole 2 weeks. If you want to take a caddy, stuff like that. So the price of that can rack up pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And with your plus three handicap, was there any temptation to try and enter Q school?
Not at the moment. As much as maybe like I might want to do it at some point. Obviously one, it's expensive. Two, it's at a terrible time of year for me with equipment reviews because this is the time of year when everyone brings new clubs out, and that's like a big part of what I do is review a new kit. So that would be interesting. And also like I set up my own business this year, so I've been working a lot on that. So I've definitely practiced a lot less than I have some of the seasons. So I think I probably need a bit longer run up of like practice and tournament golf if I wanted to do that.
So never say never, but maybe in the next 3 years or so.
Maybe, yeah, we'll see. It'd be a good YouTube series, wouldn't it?
Would you bring obviously all your equipment and stuff to like give the insiders a great insight into what it's like at Q school?
Oh yeah, I think it would be interesting to do it like that. It's just getting the right environment to do that, and obviously taking someone to film that for possibly 2 weeks is also quite expensive. I'm not sure what the rules would be on filming it. Like I filmed in LET Access, they were fine. They let me do that, so I filmed tournaments and that this year.
Mhm.
I don't know how that would differ with it technically being an LET event, but it's not televised, so I think you could probably be okay in terms of not being on TV, right? So there's a few things to think about, I guess, if I wanted to do that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if the likes of Rick Shields or that can film, open qualifying. I'm sure filming, Q school would be fine. But then
We'll
then
find
again,
out at some point, maybe.
that's Rick Shields, I guess. So like,
Yeah, yeah. Need a few more subscribers, I think, before we get to that point.
Yeah. So I take it in terms of the professional golf game at the minute, are you, I know you're very, very busy, like with your own content and stuff, but like, do you get to watch the golf tournaments much?
I feel like golf's one of those things where if I sit down on the sofa, I just like turn the TV on and see what's happening. It's like it might not be that I'm watching like every single round, but if I'm in, I always like to like have a look and see what's going on. Especially obviously like you have certain weeks of the year like majors, you're not gonna miss them and stuff like that. And I try to keep up with like everything as much as I can. I think especially like because I played a few LAT access stuff this year, it's quite nice to like look in the app and see how some of the players you like played with or played practice rounds with are doing. And yeah, like trying to keep up with Q School this week, and obviously it was LPGA Q School last week. And Lauren Walsh, one of the Irish girls, got her cards. That's really cool. I saw her on a podcast, and they were saying she's only the third Irish person ever to get an LPGA tour card. So that's pretty impressive and also pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Lauren's been super consistent for the past couple of years at least. Like in terms of her own performance, well, she's not got that win yet, but I'm sure at some point, like the win on the Ladies European Tour, should it not work on the LPGA Tour will come. So
Yeah, I
she's
remember watching her in the Curtis Cup in 2021. She was really good then. She's kind of just like steadily progressed ever since, I'd say.
yeah, from the Ladies European Tour graduates, is there anybody else that you're kind of looking forward to seeing like challenge herself on the LPGA? Like maybe
I think
Mimi
Mimi
again?
Rhodes, she's like just a really fun character and personality, and I think having more of those people on tour is like really good for the women's game. Like having someone, I guess, like your kind of Charlies and people who are quite happy to speak out, like state their opinions, like have fun on the golf course, but also really good golfers. And that's just the kind of people that are going to bring like more women into the game and more people watching the golf. Like we know when we watch men's golf, so much of it is about personalities and who we enjoy watching. And I think sometimes because there's not as much TV time, like we don't get to learn that as much from the women. So having like those bigger personalities that can really draw people in, I think is really exciting. And she's had such a fast career progression. You know, she was only playing Curtis Cup in 2024, and she's going to be on LPGA in 2026. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's mental. I mean, obviously it was a rookie season this season on the Ladies European Tour, and you know, to win three times on a rookie season is ridiculous. Like
Yeah,
it's so good. It's
yeah.
so
So
good.
definitely excited to see what she does. It'll be interesting because it's Solheim Cup year, to see if any of those like new LET players can kind of challenge and keep up on the LPGA, and if we can squeeze some more home nation people into the European team, that'd be great.
Yeah, Mimi's probably got a chance. If she can get off to a good start next year on the LPGA Tour, I think
Yeah,
she's got a chance.
I think so. And she played with Lottie Wood at the last Curtis Cup, so
There
like
you go.
what a pairing.
Sorry, I was going to say, there you go. There's a name that will probably be right in the mix. Lottie Wood.
Yeah, definitely. Well, she's top 10 in the world now, isn't she? So I'd be very surprised if she's not there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see her not being there. So no, like that'll be interesting. Yeah, I kind of agree with that narrative. Like in terms of Lottie Wood and Mimi Rhodes together, that'll be interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I think. I think Nastasia might do well next year. Actually, obviously she won the last event of the year to win her first title on tour after about I think it was seven top tens and 15 top 25s this season for Nastasia Nadal, and she finally got that win. And a week later, she managed to get a card as well. She's still only 20, so a big future for the talented French woman.
Yeah, it's going to be
And
interesting to see what happens. I feel like there's a lot of people obviously you've got your few people that are going to be in the team, but then you've got people like Georgia Hall. She's just come out announced she's pregnant, so she's out until next June, so there's potential for a bit of shake up in the team, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you don't really change a winning formula, etc. Um, in terms of like personnel, etc. But like, I think there's probably three, maybe four players that are in danger of like dropping out, like for the likes of Lottie Wood and potentially Mimi Rhodes and other players that obviously that are obviously playing at a high level and stuff like that. So it will be interesting at Bernard's 2026, and especially with Anna Nordqvist as well as the captain. That'll be interesting, obviously.
Yeah, I think she's going to be a really good captain. The fact she's been so close to it for so long is going to like really help as well.
Yeah, she seems like the type of leader as well that maybe not as intimidating as Suzanne Pettersson, but but she's probably got that leadership quality to try and win at whatever cost.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. I think that's kind of the thing that runs through European teams, isn't it? Like the camaraderie and like how the teams run, like be that in the Ryder Cup or the Solheim Cup. Um, and obviously it's working out so far at the moment.
Have you managed to go to any of the Solheim Cups before? Or?
Yeah, I did Glen Eagles. That was really cool. Went with my sister and a few friends. So we were actually up for the full weekend. Though I had to leave early on the last day because I had a tournament for Yorkshire the next day. So I missed like all the excitement at the end. I was like, this is so gutting. So I'd done like the practice days, all the tournament days, and then missed like the last bit. But yeah, that was amazing. Like I still get goosebumps like watching that Suzanne Petterson putt and like Bronte Law like rounding her match out. And I grew up playing competitive golf when Bronte was playing her amateur golf, so like it was really cool to see her like winning that point that basically like helped them win.
Yeah, I mean that does sound pretty cool to be honest, and like Bronte Law, I think she's going to be one of the vice captains as well, so
Yeah, I
she'll have
think
that.
she vice captain for the junior Solheim.
Uh, can't remember for the
I
top of
think
my head to
it's
be honest.
her and Anne Van Dam are doing the junior Solheim, which is going to
Right.
be it's on the same course for the first time this year. So that'll be cool. The girls get to play ahead of the women on the same golf course. That's the first time they've played at the same venue.
Yeah, that's it's definitely going to be interesting. Obviously, the Solheim Cup's a great event. Is that an event that potentially you could look at to well to potentially work it as a content creator? Do you think you would get the privilege of?
Potentially watch this space. I might be doing some stuff with that. Um, yeah, got some stuff lined up to
Oh,
cover
nice.
Solheim this year, so it's gonna be fun.
I just like in terms of the Solheim Cup, I'm just wondering, like in terms of like the YouTube stuff, like what would they be like? Like, I take it they're okay with it, or
So the stuff I have planned, I'm going to be doing like in partnership with some of the brands who are there.
okay.
So it's more for them and like their socials than specifically for YouTube. It does get a bit difficult because all the big tournaments, so be it like the Open or LET, there's obviously TV rights. So what you can and can't film once the tournament starts is affected. So it's much more like what you can do around that. What can you do with the players, like before or after rounds, stuff like that, than actually filming the golf taking place. If I've done it at tournaments before, like I did a vlog when I went to the players. We did that with the PJ Tour, and it was more about like the experience and showing different things around that like people who haven't been wouldn't necessarily see. We did that at the Anwar as well one year, so I covered the Augusta Nationals women's amateur and things like you could go and try the food out because we weren't that tournament isn't solely at Augusta. They use Champions Retreat, which is down the road as well, but they still ship like all the Augusta food, drinks, like snacks in, so you can do stuff like trying them out and talking about it, talk to the players, like interview the players after round. So it's like what other stuff you can bring that shows like the atmosphere and the experience.
What was your favorite food option at Augusta National?
Oh, the peach ice cream sandwich was really good. The chocolate cookies were really good. Um, I didn't love some of the sandwiches, I'm not gonna lie, like they weren't really my vibe. Like I really wanted to love the pimento cheese, but wasn't my favorite. Sorry to disappoint. Although there was a pulled pork sandwich that was really nice. So yeah, bit of a mix.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna get headhunted now for saying that, aren't you? So
And yeah, I suppose it all depends on your taste and what you prefer. But yeah, the I think the sweet snacks were my favorite.
oh, anything sweet is fine for me, to be honest. Like I'd be there, I'd be there in heaven, to be honest. So, but no, that's a cool experience. Obviously, getting to go to Augusta to film stuff as well. Stuff of
Yeah, that was
dreams,
pretty
really.
surreal. Yeah.
Is it? Is it like when you get to Augusta? Is it everything that you thought it was going to be? Like when you actually go on site, etc. Like.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. Like everything's just perfect. I guess you almost describe it like golf Disneyland. Like you go to like the Open and the merch tent is like a thing that's been built on a practice round or something. And these are all like these perfectly pristine buildings, like built for purpose, like literally like a Disneyland like theme park kind of shop. The golf course is just immaculate. I mean, I went the year where do you remember some of the trees came down and it was like quite heavy rain, and
Yeah.
like there was like one patch of mud like about this big, and literally there was people who obviously go very often like visibly gasping and being like mud at Augusta, like it was like this one tiny imperfection, but like the grass is just unbelievable everywhere. You stand at like Amen Corner and like look in, and it looks like a painting. Everything's just like so perfect. It almost just doesn't feel like a real place. It's pretty mental.
Yeah, so before we start diving into your own journey, etc. So like have you got a most memorable moment from 2025 in the golf season?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, actually, so this year the Grove did a women's golf day. So it was called For the Women. And it was really cool. They had like a mixture of like golfers, content creators, um, and just different women that play golf that they invited down for this event. And I got to play golf with two Olympians. So I played with Denise Lewis and Goldie Sayers, who were both in the athletics and the Olympics, and it was just an incredible experience to play with two women who are like so strong, powerful, like have just a history of like sport and strength, and like to see them go and like play golf and how far they could hit it and how athletic and powerful they were. And it was really, I found it really inspiring to see that in golf where a lot of people don't necessarily associate those traits with a female golfer. And I just thought it was really interesting how those like two worlds kind of combined. And yeah, it was a fascinating like day. Amazing for the Grove to like put that on and want to do something different. Um, and interesting, like the Grove have the biggest percentage of female staff of like any golf organization in the UK. Um, but also yeah, just to see like proper athletes playing golf was really cool.
Yeah, no, sounds like a surreal experience. Imagine, teeing it up with former Olympians and stuff. That's like,
Yeah,
wow. Gee.
and we won as well, which was good.
There you go. You can take that. I was gonna say you can take that to the grave with you. Like I
Yeah,
managed to win with Olympians, so
yeah, it was very fun.
right. So we'll take it back to your own journey. So, like in terms of the golf stuff, where did it kind of start for you? And like was like when you first started in golf, were you always interested in it?
So golf for me is like very like family related. So all my family plays. My parents actually met watching the Open at St Andrews. Um,
Oh, that's cute.
yeah, both their sets of parents play. So all my grandparents, like my aunties, my uncles, like my brother and sister now play. So like to me, like golf was just kind of a thing you do. And I think it was probably when I got to like I joined my first club at 7, and I think when I got to like 11 or 12, that's when I kind of really got obsessed with it. And it's more like the age where I was allowed to like go and practice on my own and stuff as well. Um, and yeah, started playing for Yorkshire then and just like loved it and basically never stopped since.
Yeah, and like um like in terms of when you first started out as well, like when was the first, you know, kind of time that you managed to, you know, hit like over 200 yards or stuff like that?
Good question. I'm not sure. I remember like when I first learned, and there was like this little mat they used to put down on the golf course I played at, and you could just hit like shots up the side of the ninth fairway because it was like a little 9-hole club. And that's kind of where the pro would like maybe just teach juniors when they were first starting, rather than going all the way to the range because it was like the other side of a railway track. And there's this massive tree that was like the target we were hitting at. I remember thinking, I'm hitting it so far, it's like miles away, these shots are going miles. And I go back now and that tree's like literally 50 yards from where the mat was. So like obviously I was just so small, and like the perception that the tree was so far away and like I was hitting it miles. Obviously, maybe kudos to the pro at that time because he was obviously making me feel like I was doing a great job. Um, but yeah, when I started hitting it for, I don't know, probably around the time I started playing for Yorkshire. So when I was like 12ish, that's like when I got my first custom set clubs and custom fit clubs and stuff like that. And the course I grew up at was called Lycliffe. It was a little 9-holer, but the second and the fifth hole like run parallel to each other, and across both of the fairways there's like a set of trees, which are at about like the 150-yard mark. So being able to like get the ball high enough in the air and on a good trajectory to get it over these trees was obviously like quite a good hit. So like when I got to that point in like my early teens when I could do that, that was when I was like, yes, like maybe I can play a bit now.
Did you ever get like any, you know, like professional lessons and stuff, like, or were you kind of self-taught?
Oh, I've always had lessons. So I remember even before I played, like going and sitting and watching my parents have golf lessons. And they've always been very much that they've had lessons. And then I just started having lessons off the back of that. I think that's really what's allowed me to get good at golf because I think people underestimate the value of having like good information and having a coach that understands your golf swing. Um, and yeah, if it wasn't for the coaches I've had, and especially like Andrew Nicholson, my coach now, I definitely wouldn't be playing like to the level I am. I remember swapping coaches when I was like 4 handicap because I just like got stuck in this rut and I couldn't get any better and like I didn't understand. I was practicing loads, and yeah, I went to see Andrew and like straight away the next season I got down to scratch, and yeah, like a good coach is invaluable to your golf in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely have to agree with that. And yeah, and in terms of like you said off air that you played for Yorkshire for at least a decade. What was your fondest memories of playing in like for the Yorkshire team?
Good question. We've had so many. I guess my favourite was like in 2017 we won the national championship. So how it works in women's county golf is you play like your regional week at the start of the year. So for Yorkshire we'd play against Durham, Lancashire, Cheshire, Cumbria. Um, and you do like a round robin. So every day you play a different county. So in the morning you'd play foursomes, in the afternoon you play singles. So by the end of the week, you could have played like 10 matches against all these different counties. And then the winner goes to finals, and you have to do it again, but against the winners from each region. So we ended up that year we'd lost in the final the year before by half a point, and I'd lost my match on the last. So like I would have had to win the last hole for us to like half and win, and I didn't. So we went in the next year, and I was like, oh god. And again, it went to the last day, the last match, and I said, this is so stressful. So it's the last day, and I went out. I was playing with Charlotte Heath was my foursomes partner at the time. She's just got a LET card this year off LET Access, and we went out in the morning, and we won about 6 and 5 in the foursomes. And usually I always play the last man out, so I'm always like the prop match. And I was like, our captain at the time was like, no, we're just going to lead at the front. We're going to go out and we're going to win it. So he sent me out, and I was like so terrified because I'd lost on the like I'd basically lost it. I hadn't, but you know what I mean. And I won like 7 and 6. I was like, I'm not going anywhere near that 18th hole. And actually, one of my best friends, Nicola, she ended up with the putt on the 18th that time. And yeah, she managed to two putt half the hole, and yeah, we won. We won nationals, and the best thing was just like we had such a good team that year, and like all the girls got on so well, and it was such like a team effort, and I think like that was the best thing about the whole thing. Like, and that's for me like a great thing about golf. Yes, it is an individual sport, but you can have such great team experiences, and it brings like similar people together. And yeah, that was really cool.
What do you think makes the importance of having a good team, do you think?
Um, I think just a lot of times with women, like we do better in environments where it's groups. So you see a lot more. Sorry, ugly. Can you hear my dog?
No, 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 I can't hear the dog, but can you bring him in?
Oh, he's wandered off again. Sorry, I was scratching his collar. I'll just start that again. Um, my answer again. Yeah, I think like a lot of times for girls, you see that there's a lot more integration into sport when it's a team thing. So it's really nice to like have something that, yeah, it's individual, but actually you can be a group and like you can travel together and you can learn from each other. Like everyone does different things well. So like having different people together is really nice.
Yeah, and obviously Mowgli's trying to be the star of the show here as well. So,
Yeah.
is he not coming in? No.
No, he's disappeared.
We'll give it 2 minutes.
He can't be pinned down. He likes to free roam.
Yeah, I'll be back in 2 minutes to become the star of the show again. So, yeah. So obviously you had success in the Yorkshire team. You also had some decent finishes in some of the best amateur tournaments as well. So you were saying off your tie seventh at the Irish amateur, 17th at the British amateur as well, where majority of the best amateur players in the world come to play. So very decent efforts. And in terms of, you know, especially the British amateur, like in terms of the experiences, what was that feeling like?
Oh, that was amazing because I think it's the probably the amateur event that feels the biggest. Like the RNA do a great job of like running that like professional event and like giving people the experience of feeling what a professional tournament would be like if it's like the fencing around the driving range or the golf balls they use or the walkway through to the first tee, like all these little things that just make it feel like a really big event. It's now a lot of the final rounds are on TV, so people can watch it. You're getting used to cameras, like, and obviously there's so many great players there. Like, it's really good just to be in that environment and like see their routines and what they're doing. I played it the year it was at Kilmarnock Brassy, and it was just in incredible condition. The greens were amazing, which was sometimes a bit terrifying with how quick they were. But yeah, um, it was a really good experience. I think it's confidence expiring when you go in something like that and like put some good rounds together because it does make you feel better about your golf game.
And like in terms of, the lead up to like you already know that you're playing the tournament, etc. Like in terms of preparation and stuff for these big tournaments, do you do more or do you do less, do you think?
Probably more. It's a bit dependent on like where it is in the season and what you're doing and what else is around it. But typically the women's season's kind of broken up into chunks. So you do get like a very early, like April, May tournaments, which is usually like the Welsh, the Scottish, stuff like that. And then you get a bit of a break, and then the British kind of comes in just as everyone's come back from America, and it's almost like the second part of the season. So a lot of the time it's more like short game prep and stuff like that because you're getting into like the faster greens. The tournaments like that are going to be set up harder, and a lot of it's just like course management and how's the course set up, what's the best way to play it, and moving between like links and parkland golf and how your gear's set up. Like a lot more to have long irons in and like loft my drivers down. I've known to put different driver heads in weeks where it's very windy or very linksy, just because I'm naturally a very high ball flight player, so it doesn't always bode well when it's very windy.
And you were saying also that you've experienced Royal Troon as well. Like that must be the stuff of dreams too. like to play
Yeah,
at Royal Troon.
I love Royal Troon. It's probably one of my favourite courses. So the Scottish Women's Amateurs there every year. So they play it across both courses there. So the first two rounds are on the second course, and then if you make the cut, you get to play the old course for the final round. And actually, both courses are fantastic, and they set the Portland up really tricky and very long for the first 2 days. So it is sometimes quite a feat to make it to the final round. But yeah, I love everything about both the golf courses there really. Although sometimes I'm cursing them when I'm hitting driver 3 wood into the first two holes, which are par fours, because of how uphill they play and where the wind direction is. But yeah, some of the holes on Troon, I just love it. Like 7 and 8, I think they're just amazing holes, and obviously to get to play the postage stamp, which is like so iconic. And the fact like they support women's golf by holding that event every year, I think is really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, to play such an event at such an iconic, golf course, um, you must be like the young Hannah's like she's kind of dreaming as such like to play these iconic courses. So yeah, fair play
Yeah,
to
they are
you.
kind of like pinch me moments when you get to go play courses like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So like going back to the women's game, etc. now as well. So especially so the LPGA Tour and the Ladies European Tour, as of late, the prize fund keeps going up and up and up. That can only be a particularly good thing for women's golf, and I think the only thing needed now is better coverage, but you can't. I mean, I'm not the advocate for that, so
Well, the LPGA have just signed a new deal for next year, haven't they? So all
yeah.
rounds are going to be covered, which I think will really help. Um, Obviously, more money is fantastic for the players, but I also think it trickles down. You see, even from like the years when I was playing junior stuff or was in junior squads, like the attitudes of parents are completely different from then to now. So I did like 8 years working as a performance manager for England Golf for some of their development squads. And I would say like parents take golf much more seriously now as a potential career option, where in the past like it wasn't viewed as that. It was very much like for girls, golf is a hobby. Like you can't make enough money in this. Like it's such small percentages that get to the top and there's not enough money there. Whereas now like that narrative's definitely changing and that drives more people into play, more people to take it seriously, more good golfers. And I think that's only a good thing because the more like good female golfers people see in their golf club, they more think, oh, that's interesting. Like maybe I want to watch that. And then maybe when the LET comes on or the LPGA comes on, they leave it on or they actually actively like seek it out. And I know for me, I joined a new golf club about 3 years ago now. And previous to that, there was only one woman who was like under 5 handicap. And because I now quite regularly go out and play on a Saturday when there's like men playing, and they see me playing off different tee boxes and they see me hitting it as far as them, it does like spark conversation about women's golf and like change people's perception. And the more of like that demographic you have in the club and the more you have people changing their views of what women's golf is, like that can only be better. So yeah, it's fantastic like the athletes getting paid more, but I don't think that's the only reason why like more money is good for like the whole of women's golf.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of, I've been kind of like overcritical maybe about like the TV coverage, etc., and how absolutely annoying it is. Like, it's like the final round of an LPGA Tour event or something, and they're cutting into the coverage at like the sixth hole. Like, what's the point in that? Like,
Yeah, it is really irritating, but obviously, like TV costs so much. Even like for me to go film a YouTube video or so, like send a crew somewhere to film like a tournament for a week is expensive. So then to do that on a scale and like get it on TV and run it live, also there is more cost to that. So you have to have like more sponsorship and more investment. And I think a lot of it is educating people who are sponsors on like sponsoring women's sports more. And sometimes I think it's just a default. It's not, you're just thinking, oh, like, I watch that sport and I'm interested in it, so I'll sponsor that. And like, how can we maybe approach businesses that are founded and run by women? Because they're going to be more likely to want to back women's sport. So it's just like educating people that it is a good thing to do rather than it being that it's not ever going to happen, I think.
And the LET schedule is out for 2026, and the first event is the £5 million, the £5 million prize fund in Saudi Arabia for the Aramco series. So that's a nice start.
Yeah, that is nice. So I haven't seen that yet. Has that just come out this week?
Yeah, so it starts in Saudi Arabia.
Is that pre the Australia events?
Yes, so before,
Yeah,
so it's like so in February. In February, it's the Saudi event, and then I think it's the Australian events after that. So
yeah, nice. The like I kind of said before, obviously the Aramco events are amazing because they bring so much more money into that tour, and like it's giving people an opportunity to earn like an actual salary. So I think if you look at people on the LET, like I remember playing with Annabelle Dimmock one year in the pro am at one of the Aramco events, and like my cameraman was like talking about how good a golf was, and obviously she's kind of a staple name on the LET now. I would say like a lot of people know Annabelle Dimmock and they know about her golf, and she's a great golfer. But then if you go and look at like I went in and looked at her average earnings on course, and it was about 40 grand a year over the average of years she's been on tour, and you think that's not a lot of money to account for like how much travel you have to cover now. Obviously, she's with Adidas and Taylor and different people like that, so they do get sponsorships as well, but the sponsorship deals are not as lucrative at the men, and you do need those Aramco events to add more money to the pot. But then on the other hand, because they're such big events, you obviously get a lot of like LPGA players coming in to take spots because sponsors want big names there, and that does drive some of the other LET players out. But I suppose you could say like if you want to play in those events, like you need to be in the top 50% of the tour, and it also drives people to maybe strive to be better and like get into those big events as well.
yeah, I think with some of the LET card holders that fall short of the Aramco series events, it must be annoying for them. But at the same time, I get why the Aramco want to bring star names over and give sponsors invites and stuff like that. And like the end of the day, the bigger the name, I guess, the more people are probably going to watch. So
Yeah,
it's just one of them things. But like obviously, in terms of the Ladies European Tour players' perspective, it might be annoying for them, but I guess it is what it is. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, to be honest, so taking all the politics of Saudi out of it, what's your honest thoughts on the Aramco series? Like, you mentioned briefly there that it's amazing, like the amount of money they're pumping into the women's game, etc. But what's your overall thoughts?
So I've played in a few. I played in one of the original ones at Centurion as part of one of the teams. Then I've also played in the Pro Am since, and I think the setup and like the difference in what that tournament week looks like to other weeks is amazing. It feels much more like a very big event. I think it's like what the women deserve when they turn up to a tournament. Like it's really well run. I think that's fantastic. Like you can't take anything away from that. I think the first year they obviously had that the amateurs played every day, and they've tweaked the format a little bit now, so it's less days with the amateurs, and then the last day it's just the pros. I think that's probably a good thing because as much as it's really nice to have that other element, you will kind of want the last day to be focused on the players. Um, but yeah, I think it's really nice. It's like a bit of a different event. The team bit's really good because it means like some people on tour who wouldn't maybe necessarily be winning out of the main prize pot do still get something out of the team. And if you have a great week, that's really good. Um, so it just brings something different, doesn't it? I really like those tournaments. I think the Saudi debate is really interesting, isn't it? Because people are very adverse to live golf and that being Saudi funded, but everyone gets very quiet when it comes to like the Aramco series and it being Saudi funded. It's almost like, well, we don't want to pay to sponsor the women, so if you want to do that, that's fine, but like don't mess with the men's golf because we want to look after that and control that. And I find that bit part a bit weird. Like if you're happy to accept the money to support some part of the game, it feels like it should be accepted across the whole game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. And So I believe the Aramco Series events this coming season is going up to 72 holes, and so I'm not sure if they're keeping the team part aspect of it or they're scrapping it altogether. I don't know, but like it's
I haven't
definitely
seen
going
the
up.
schedule. I looked for it a few weeks ago, but it obviously wasn't out yet, so it must have just popped out this week.
Yeah, but as far as I'm aware, I think it's back up to 72 holes. So that'll be interesting. £5 million first event. I'm presuming Jeeno will come to try and retain her title as well. So
Yeah, she had a great year last year, didn't she?
yeah, I mean, you know what she's like with these big prize funds. She won the Saudi and won back-to-back CME tours that were like 4 million prize fund or something like that. So big big money player, isn't she? So
Yeah, her bank account's happy this year.
do you, I was gonna say, do you wish you had Gino's bank account right now? I
Yeah.
think we all do.
Yeah, I think most people do.
I think we all do. Um, yes, so no, obviously it's a good thing, and I want to briefly mention. I've mentioned them a few times actually now. Obviously the help and the backing of uh Justin Rose and Kate Rose, what they've done for ladies golf as well with the Rose Ladies Series events. Like I take it you're extremely like you're in the defense of extremely appreciative to what Justin and Kate have done as well.
Oh yeah, I think like what they've done has been amazing. I think they've get Justin has gained a lot of supporters when he's playing well out on tour. People that are backing him. It's very torn during the Masters this year. It's like, well, I'd really like Rory to win the Grand Slam, but we all love Justin Rose, and this is like a bit difficult now. But I think when someone kind of steps up and offers that level of support when they didn't have to, and they don't have to. It just kind of shows people that there are people that believe in women's golf and like know that the golfers are great. And what I think is fantastic is I see him popping up on social all the time, and he's like replying to comments from like Mimi Rhodes put a post up saying she's win, and he's replying like congratulating her because he's met her at a Rose Series event and he knows her. And it's not just like that he's putting his name onto something, like he really is invested in it and invested in the players and the stories. And I've been a few times to do content with them, and he remembers that I've been there the time before. He like asks how I am. He's like really into doing like the interviews and talking to you. And I just think one, he seems like genuinely an amazing person. And two, like just how thoroughly they're helping women's sport is like so appreciated by like everyone at those tournaments.
I'm sure I actually seen that video. Was it what was it? You were quizzing them on the sort of the no
Ryder
no
Cup,
no
yeah.
Ryder Cup. Sorry.
Yeah.
How did he
Yeah,
do?
that was fun. He actually did really well because I was writing the quiz thinking this is quite hard. But yeah, he did good.
Fair play, brain box, Justin Rose.
I know. I'll see. Maybe I have to ask him about the Solheim Cup next year. See if he does as well.
Maybe Justin will have to go to Kate and try and get Kate in as well, like
Yeah.
to try and help. But no, but like all seriousness, like I think it's fantastic what Justin and Kate have done, given you know, given young aspiring pros as well the platform to try and elevate their games, etc. as well, and you've had some good winners of the Rose Ladies Series events as well, and it's no, it's great, and definitely need, I was gonna say definitely need to speak to Justin Rose at some point. Like Justin, if you're somehow listening, please just come on for my come on for my 200th episode, please. We've got to
Yeah,
get it
no.
arranged.
They've had some great winners. The obviously the £10,000 for the single day events at the start of the year is amazing to give people the chance to like fund their season. And they're just always on great tournaments, which is just a really good way to like people to warm up and get ready to go out and play on tour.
So you said that you've had experiences on the Letters tour this year. What were them experiences like for you? Like I like do you go to these events and you're nervous at all, or what, are you just calm? Or
That one I was pretty nervous because they wanted me to vlog it, so I got an invite to make content. So obviously I'm playing with two pros who are playing for a living, and I'm trying to play and film it. And it was a like, can I make the cut series? So I was like, I kind of need to do somewhat okay on the first day, or like the whole second video is just like not, no one's gonna watch it. So yeah, I think that added to the nerves. There's obviously a different element of one when you're just trying to go play golf well, but then two, you're not trying to distract your playing partners, and three, like you're filming it for entertainment purposes. That's like quite a tricky thing to balance. I think I played pretty good the first day. Maybe lipped out a couple of times, shot like mid 70s, and then just second day I was just so overwhelmed by the whole thing. I just like forgot how to play golf. Um, which is interesting because you obviously get people who appreciate how difficult that situation is, and some people who are just like straight in to tell you how terrible you are at golf. Um, which is quite amusing. I think I shot like 81, and someone commented literally on my YouTube the other day because I put another vlog up and was like, didn't think you were going to play well this round after seeing you play like an 18 handicapper in the Rose series. And I was like, mate, 2% of golfers ever break 80. So, like, it's mad, like, people's perception. If you shoot an 80, it's like a terrible round of golf, and it actually really isn't. And I'm not a professional golfer, like, I don't play for a living, so playing, yeah, in a professional event and trying to create content at the same time is like quite tricky.
so I find it interesting that you mentioned obviously playing with the pros and stuff. Um, is there any is there ever any like awkwardness, like you're like, oh hi, I'm Hannah, I'm here to film, like I take it they're okay with it, or
Well, I mean, you stood there with a big videographer, so that does not look. I mean, there's videographers for the tour as well, so they're traveling around and doing stuff. And obviously, I don't know who I'm going to play with till the day before the draw comes out, so there's not much you can do about it. And in like single day Rose Series events where the draw comes out much ahead of time, like Rose Series kind of asked the people if it was okay in advance, but I couldn't do that with this. So I just kind of had to rock up to the first team and be like, I am filming this for YouTube. Like, if the videographer is ever in your way, just say, like, don't feel rude telling us if anything's annoying. Like, I'll stay out of your way as much as possible. Like, tell my videographer, like, obviously where to and not stand, and like make sure there's no noises on the camera and stuff like that. But yeah, there's kind of minimal you can do. And at the end of the day, like if the person's gonna go out and play on LET, they're gonna be in a situation where stuff's filmed for Sky Sports on camera. So I think as long as like I'm respectful in what I'm doing and like I'm keeping it with place of play and I'm not in the way, then that's all I can do really.
yeah, no, fair play to you for trying your hand at the Rose series as well. I mean, great experience, definitely.
Yeah, no, it is really cool to get to go and play in those things and like see the standard and like some of the scores people shot in those events like this year were really good. And there's courses where I think if I play really well, I'll shoot level par and like someone's going out and shooting like 6 under and you can't even see how that's possible. It is quite enlightening at some points.
So obviously you have you've started the YouTube stuff. I think it was last year you were saying as well. So how has that journey been for you? Obviously, you kind of put everything into it now, and you're doing not too bad so far. I think it was 24.3 thousand subscribers, something like that. It's not bad.
Yeah, so I kind of got into the YouTube world in my previous role. So I started as equipment editor at National Club Golfer in 2019, and that's how I first ended up doing like equipment reviews for YouTube. And kind of at that point, the world was in a very different space, and it was much more like about reviews for the magazine and the website, and we'll do a little bit of YouTube. And like it's amazing how over like the last 7 years that's kind of really changed, and it's much more like people want to see video now rather than other forms of media. Um, and I think I'll always really be grateful to National Club Golf for taking me on in that role. I was the first female to ever be an equipment editor across any UK publication. And it was obviously quite a big step for them to say, we're going to let this woman go out and test all the golf equipment, which a lot of people perceive to be men's golf equipment, not necessarily just golf clubs. So they gave me a really amazing opportunity there. And yeah, we grew that YouTube channel to like 50,000, and that was great fun. And then yeah, last year, at the end of last year, I left there and decided to set up on my own. So it allows me to do a little bit more different stuff, like a little bit more playing opportunities and stuff with the Rose series, as well as like the equipment stuff that I started out doing.
What would you say so far has been the most enjoyable episode that you've done? I
On
mean,
my
there's quite a
new
lot.
on my
Hmm.
new channel,
Uh-huh.
I did really enjoy the quiz with Justin Rose. That was actually really good fun. Um, I filmed a few vlogs that are not actually out yet with my friends. We went. My best friend's Irish, so I played with her cousin, and her mum. So we've done Portmarnock and Baltray, where Shane Lowry won the Irish Open as an amateur. I've done like scrambles as a four ball. That was really fun. Um, yeah. What else would be like my most enjoyable? I've done such a lot, you forget what you've like done over the year. But those are kind of probably some of the standouts.
Yeah, and so what would you say going into 2026 for the channel is going to be the main goal for you, do you think?
Um, Obviously I want to keep growing it, but for me, like the importance is in like I always say like educating and like entertaining people. Like for me, I really want to help golfers out and like give them more information, and that's very much where I come from it. And if like I happen to grow my following off the back of it, then that is what happens. But it's always about like why is this video interesting and like what information is it given to someone. And I think I've been in a fortunate position in golf where I was obviously a good junior golfer, and because of that, I got opportunities being in Yorkshire coaching or England coaching to meet playing in big amateur tournaments, to go to like cool places, meet really cool people in golf, and then again in my journey working in golf, and you learn a lot of stuff about golf that you kind of presume other people know. And for me, the channel is much more about like sharing that information and like letting other people know more about golf and learn and be able to come better. Because I think actually loads of people could be really good at golf, but they don't necessarily have all the information, and they assume that there's like kind of a group of people who are very talented, and that's why they're just better at golf for them. And I think actually maybe they just got better opportunities or better information, and that's how they've managed to get there. So it's more for me, it's always about like what I can give to other people, rather than like it needs to be like this number or this is what I'm trying to achieve with it. It's like is every video like interesting to someone?
And what would you say would be your dream golf course to try and film it, do you think?
Oh, good question. I'm actually going to Royal Melbourne in March.
Oh,
So
wow.
hopefully I'm gonna be able to film that, which would be really cool. Um, I'm really lucky to be a member at a Mackenzie course, so they do trips to different Mackenzie clubs each year. Um, so that's really amazing. So that's gonna be very exciting. Not sure where else would be on my wish list. I think everyone wants to film at Augusta, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think so. Maybe
no.
if you get to like Rick Shields level, you might potentially, but
Well, he's played it, hasn't he? But he hasn't filmed it. I'm not sure they'd ever. They did let
oh,
Bryson do that thing once, didn't they? With it was like a mixed sport thing. I remember that video where he was like playing with hockey stick or something. But I'm not sure they're suddenly gonna just let loads of influencers in to start filming.
that's a shame, isn't it? I mean, maybe if you could do a dream collab with Bryson, you can get onto Augusta and film something together. I don't know.
I would love to do a collab with Bryson. It's like one of those golfers who, like, I always liked from the start, even when everyone was like, not quite sure about this guy. But I think he's kind of the same. Like, he values information as being really important. Um, so maybe on similar like wavelengths.
Do a Breaking 50 special or whatever it is.
Yeah. Hey, you nearly broke it with Trump, so maybe I could help.
I mean, I mean, no disrespect to Mr. Donald Trump, but like, yeah, if you could do that with Trump, then certainly got a chance of breaking 50. So
Trump did actually have some holes in that match, didn't he? Where he put some par threes where I think it was all his shots, but yeah, I think he's like a low single figure handicap, isn't he? So that draws more of us in. Although I think he's only really done it with very low handicappers when he's managed to do it.
have you have you reached out to Bryson about a potential collab?
I don't think I'm anywhere near the scale where that's going to even be looked at. So to do a few
I
more
mean,
videos first before
I mean,
contemplating that.
you can dream, I guess. You can only kind of try your best, I guess. So
Yeah,
maybe one
this
day,
is true.
yeah, maybe one day you could be in a Bryson video. That'd be fun. Um, right, so taking it back to the recent controversy, this is kind of what the main part of the show, which we're going to talk about. So I think you knew this was coming as well. So yeah, let's talk about the recent controversy on Instagram where T Thomas Devine, if you're somehow listening to this, yeah, I don't think you're gonna like this part of the show, and if you don't like this part of the show, I don't really care. So, yeah, hopefully you are listening. But so in terms of the recent stuff, so well, I'll let you explain it in full in your own words and your response. If anybody hasn't seen Hannah's video response to the controversy, then please go and look at our Instagram post. It's very good content, and I thought you done really well, to be honest, with the response. But yeah, I'll let you take this one away. But it's been an eventful kind of couple of weeks for you,
Yeah, interesting. So
to say
essentially,
the least. To say the least, it's been interesting.
yeah, to say the least. Yeah, so essentially, I was in Mallorca filming some content earlier this month, and while I was doing some snippets for like the club I was at, a guy came up and started giving me a putting lesson essentially while I was practicing my putting, which is obviously interesting. I think frustrating when you've like got a specific drill set up and you clearly don't need help with what you're doing, and also when the advice is incorrect advice. Anyway, obviously because I was filming, the whole interaction was caught on camera. Now the guy wasn't in shot because he was stood next to the putting green and I was in the middle of the putting green. And I uploaded this clip to Instagram, calling it unsolicited advice and was like, why do people do this? Like I think I put in my caption like I'm off +3. I don't need you to give me your advice, which a lot of people told me was arrogant, which I think not necessarily arrogant. In my opinion, it was a relevant comment because I'm a good golfer and I don't want advice from people that are giving me incorrect advice. Anyway, Thomas commented on that video. I didn't know him at that time and didn't really think anything of it because there was a lot of comments on there, and said something along the lines of, "This is either a very strange old man or a bad script." And I didn't think anything of it. Like there were so many comments, like I just left it. And then a few days later, someone sent me a WhatsApp and was like, "Have you seen this video? I think it's about you." So this was uploaded like the day after my video, and it was basically this PGA pro talking about the fact that he was fed up of girls going online and posting videos, staging interactions they'd had with men, and that we were trying to make men look bad. We were trying to make golf look sexist, and that it was 2025. These interactions don't happen like this all the time. If we wanted attention, we should wear a bikini and hit shots in that and put that online instead of talking about sexism. And that if sexism does happen, we should send the evidence to him and like he would call it out for us rather than us talking about it. Now, obviously, there's a lot to unpack in that. Um, and for me, what I found very uncomfortable was like the amount of men agreeing with him in the comments. A lot of them were other PGA pros, or obviously people who like are in influence and like are in power in golf and should be supporting everyone who wants to play golf, like no matter who they are. And I just thought like this isn't fair. So I obviously exported his video out of Instagram, kind of cut it up into chunks so I could then talk about it after kind of each 10, 15 seconds. So I took the points that he'd made and then I discussed why I thought that his take wasn't correct in this instance, and obviously highlighted some of the things that he said that were sexist, like saying that women should walk around in bikinis. Like, I don't think that is an acceptable thing for someone to say. Um, and yeah, obviously that got quite a lot of traction when I put that back online because there were so many women who agreed with me and didn't think it was correct. Also, a lot of men who agreed with me and thought it wasn't correct. I would say like 95% of people thought it was not an appropriate thing to have been said, let alone put on the internet, to obviously then influence other people. So yeah, but there was also obviously 5% of people who were very offended that I had spoken about sexism and didn't want me to talk about it and did send me some not very nice messages, or did use the other video to tell me I had an ego or I was arrogant or that person was just being nice. And it's kind of not the point. Like, I think we understand a lot of times people are trying to be nice, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing the right thing at the same time. So yeah, it was an interesting week to say the least.
Yeah, and like um in terms of you breaking down the video about Thomas's video, etc. I thought there was I, I thought especially the first part of it where where he was mentioning the world when he was mentioning the world, oh, for God's sake, the word, that's what I meant, the word girls, and you were like, I am a 30 plus year old woman, like I thought that was pretty I thought that was pretty
Well,
funny as
the
well to
thing
me.
that was interesting about the whole thing was that he used girls and women and girls in different parts of the video. So, like in
Hmm.
bits where he was basically attacking what he felt female content creators were doing or female golfers were doing, he kept using the word girls. But when he switched back to I'm an advocate for, he then said women and girls golf. So he kind of acknowledged there was two things, but only in like
Yeah.
one part of the video. And I think that the thing is, like, obviously it's a hard topic and a lot of people mean well and are trying to be well, but like there is a difference between, I guess, like being a feminist and not. And I think there's so much like unconscious bias of things that we just learn because of how society is, and it's very hard to retrain those things, but actually it's something that everyone should have to do. And I saw this really interesting video on social this week, and it was this girl who was also discussing sexism, but she was nothing to do with golf. Obviously my algorithms got a bit interested in the last week, and she kind of drew this diagram, and it was like one long line, and at one end she drew a circle, and she was like, these are the people who, like, in everyone's view, you would view them to be like bad people. They're someone who like murders women or is a rapist or is very openly sexist. And then there's like a long line, and you get to the other end, and these are people who have none of those behaviors. And also, if their mate makes a sexist joke, they say that's not appropriate, that's sexist. Or if they like see sexism happening, they stop and interact and stop like it happening. Or they're like maybe advocates for women in some space. Like, you could say people who've maybe hired me into my old roles at NCG are very much like that kind of people. And like, if you are not that person, even if you sit somewhere on the line, like anywhere near here, like that's part of the problem. In the same sense that like if I see racism and I don't say that's not acceptable, like I am part of the racism problem. So I think it's very interesting in like modern life, because if we look at like the term feminist, when that originally came about, it was like very empowering. It was like about a really strong woman, someone who was like confident enough to speak out, like wanted to force change. But now the word feminist is almost like flipped, and it's like become this really negative thing. Like, it's someone who speaks out too much, like it's someone who we want to keep quiet, like they're causing a problem. And actually, I think if you're anyone in the world who like advocates and wants like men to be equal to women, then that comes under feminism. And like if you're not a feminist, like you're part of the problem.
Yeah, no, definitely. And when he and when he's coming out with this spiel about like obviously like go like go and play in your bikini etc. That'll make great content. Like what the fuck goes through his head? What the fuck goes through someone's head to like say some shit like that? I'm like, Jesus Christ, man! It's like it's 2025. It's no 1980s. Like you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's you still get absolute weirdos like that, to be honest. So yeah, in terms of like the online abuse and stuff, like how do you kind of cope with stuff like that? Because I imagine in your messages and comments and stuff, there's some not very nice people. We'll just say that.
I would say like obviously the majority of people are really nice and supportive and like be that men or women are backing like what you're saying and what you're trying to do because in general people understand that there is like a bias in history towards men. So like they're trying to help that and like I think the general amount of people would understand like men and women like deserve to be equal in society. So it's obviously a overwhelming amount of like positive feedback and positive messages. Now there are obviously always some negatives, you know. There's a couple of death threats in there, there's a few people calling me bitches, there's a few other not very nice things. And as much as like they might be trying to get at you, to me, like it just proves my original point. Like if you're coming online and telling me like sexism doesn't exist, but then you're happy to send me like death threats and call me a bitch and like all this other stuff for talking out against sexism, then like sexism definitely does still exist. And you're just
Hmm.
like proving my original point. So to me, it just kind of like fuels the fire for me to want to talk about it because it's not acceptable that people think they can just send you a nasty message and try silence you, which is like the whole history of the thing. Like women can be there to be seen, but like we don't want to speak to you and like dirt challenges and like dirt speak out and stuff, and you don't. We're not giving you equality. Um, so it's like a very weird thing where you receive this message that obviously isn't very nice, and when you at first read it, you're a bit like shocked that someone sent you that message. But then on the other hand, you're thinking, well, you're kind of just proving the whole point that like I need to talk about this because it's obviously very important.
Yeah, I mean, at, at the same kind of point, like in terms of the bikini stuff with Thomas, but like in the same kind of regard, like what goes through someone's head to, you know, send death threats to someone over whatever. Like
Well, you're right, it's a
it's
very weird
wrong. It's
thing.
wrong.
I think like my whole thing has always been like, yeah, you should just be able to be kind to anyone, regardless of like what the situation is. Um, and like that is obviously just so far away from that. And I guess that is some of the problem with social media. There's a lot of anonymous, like you can be anonymous on there. You're not really held accountable to a lot of things. Maybe we should have some more thorough checks in there that you maybe have to scan your ID when you sign up to an account, and that if you send inappropriate messages, that's logged on a file with the police. Because if someone came into a pub and started threatening to kill me, like something would be done about that. But because it's like in a message, it's not taken seriously.
I'm gonna go a little bit deep now, but like, do you ever have you ever got to the stage at the minute where you feel like, specifically with like death threats and stuff, that maybe you have to look over your shoulder and stuff like that?
It is kind of a weird thing, isn't it? Where you get in your car and think, like, should I lock the door? Last week I was thinking, do I need to like book some self-defense lessons here? Like, what's going on? Like, this is a bit weird. But I think like you just can't let you think let you think about it kind of too much. And it is interesting. It kind of goes back to like the original video and that a lot of people commented on was like, if you didn't want this advice, why didn't you just tell him to stop? Like, why didn't you just tell him to go away? Why didn't you say no? And it's like, well, 31% of women who like refuse a conversation with a man or like stop an interaction like that, physically or like physically attacked or subject to violence. So like, it's kind of a privileged position to say, why didn't you just say no? Or why didn't you stop him? Because like, it's not something that all people can just do. Um, so obviously there always are those thoughts like in your back of your mind, but ultimately there's nothing I can do to stop like an act of violence happening if it does. And it statistically happens to women all the time. Um, which is terrifying. But like that, talking about these things is like the only way you're gonna improve change in that. Um, like drive change and improve that. So it just kind of makes you keep thinking like, well, I just need to keep doing what I'm doing. It kind of is like, is there a bigger thing I need to be talking about than like what my favorite driver is this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's the world's pretty terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. What would you say is the worst kind of experience that you've had in terms of sexism and stuff on a golf course? Like, has there been times where people have overstepped the mark with nasty comments on a golf course?
I think like the problem with this kind of stuff is like everyone expects you to come up with this like huge scenario that's like terrible, and then people be like, that's acceptable, that's bad. But actually, the bigger thing about sexism is just like these small things that happen over and over and over again. And like to someone, some people could say, oh, like it's just a joke, or they're just having a laugh, or like they're just trying to flirt with you, or all this stuff. And it's like when you're not experiencing something like that all the time, you don't understand like how annoying and frustrating it is. And especially just like I think to be looked down upon for no reason, like just because of like how you were born, um, is pretty mental. I mean, I've had some really weird experiences that you would just think like that's not acceptable. I posted one on my social the other day talking about how when I was in the juniors, like I couldn't play in the junior team because our union had like basically a ban on girls playing for the league, which obviously is like an 11, 12-year-old girl when you're told like you can't compete in this like just because you're a girl, like you don't really understand that or why that is, and that's pretty wild. I remember one year I did like the scoreboarding at the seniors open. You know, yeah, they have people with like each group that carry like the mini
Yeah,
scoreboards around.
yeah.
And like partway through one round, I took my waterproof trousers off because it got really hot, and obviously I'm carrying all this stuff. And one of the players in the tournament was like, "Yeah, you need to leave your waterproof trousers on. Like your scott's too distracting for the players." I'm like, I'm a 14-year-old
Really?
girl, and you're like 60 plus old men. If you're playing on the seniors tour, like that's not an
That's a
appropriate
bit
like
weird.
thing to say. Do you know what I mean? And then even just like it's 2025 now. You basically rock up to like 90% of golf clubs in the UK, and a woman can't play in the Saturday competition because it's a men's competition day. But like working, if we look at the workforce, it's 49% to 51% like female male. So we nearly have absolute equality in the workplace in terms of like how many males versus females are working. But like the weekend competitions at a golf club are for men. It's like there's all these things that just still haven't been sorted out. And some people might say, "Oh, that's fine, just go play during the week." But like, I work, so I can't. And like, why should I pay all the same money and not have access to the golf club at the same time?
Yeah. Str- Again, I'll say it's a strange world, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
oh, it's crazy. So what would your message be to anybody that's been affected by any sexism, misogyny at all? Like, what would your kind of message be to them? And would it be to like don't be afraid to speak out, maybe as well?
yeah. I think it's interesting because obviously, because I've been speaking about it, then a lot of people like message you and then like open up and talk about experiences that they've had, and it might be something that they've not ever told anyone else because it's just like, well, this is just it. This is like what I have to accept. And I don't think that's true. I think like the more people who speak about it and discuss it, like the more change we can bring about. And for me, like in my life, I've always had family that played, like parents who've been supportive and like have spoke to organisations and been like, this is a problem, like this is a problem. And then because of that, we've seen change. So like if a girl joins the golf club that I was a junior at now, they can play in the junior team. And like that only happens because people my age complained and like
Yeah.
pointed out this wasn't correct. So like we have to just keep doing that. And I think like the other thing is obviously this is a golf podcast. There also will be a lot of men listening, and I think it's like very imperative that people know like this is not an attack at men, and this is not about all men. And a lot of times, I think a lot of this sexism happens without people even thinking about it or realizing it's a problem. And like we have that thing where people, there's obviously that phrase going around which is like F the patriarchy, and I think people get really confused and offended by that. But like the patriarchy is that men are better than women, and actually when people say that, what they mean is like it should be equal. It should be like 50-50. It shouldn't be like women aren't trying to overpower men. What we're trying to say is like we should all be allowed like access to the same stuff. I think, yeah, at the end of the day, maybe my message would be like just be kind and like be accepting to the fact that we can all have access to the same things without like one person having to be like more empowered than the other.
And what would you say? What would you say is going to be the catalyst for change? Do you think in terms of equality and stuff?
I think one of the big things we need to work on is the proportions of people in the game. So if we look at golf club membership, it's currently 15% women, and obviously then that's like 85% male. Whereas if we flip into off-course activities, so crazy golf, driving ranges, simulators, it's very close to 50-50. So it's not that women aren't interested in golf, it's that we're not getting them into golf clubs. And then if we move into the statistics for people working in golf, it's only 5% female. So that is really small. So we're not even getting an accurate representation of what we see at club level. And if you only have 5% of people in golf working as women, then what percentage do we have at board level in these organizations and people who are making decisions and like informing policy and driving change? So for me, it has to be a big push on like getting more women working in golf, getting more women on the boards of these big governing bodies. Because if there was someone in a boardroom saying, wait a minute, like, have we thought about this? Then that makes a difference. And I see it at my golf club. I play quite regularly now with one of the members who's joined the Greens Committee. And he was talking to me that the architect had been around some of the changes and they do these course walks. And I said to him, what tee box do you stand on when you do like the course walks and you're making the decisions about like what you're going to change? And he was like, oh, well, we do it from the whites, but now we've started doing it a bit from the yellow tees because more people play from them. And I thought, well, have you ever thought of like doing that from the red tees where most of the women play? Because like a big chunk of your membership play off those tee boxes, and you've like never thought about checking how the course looks from there or how the architecture works or the playability. And he was like this realization of, oh, like, no, we haven't done that. And that's of no fault from him. Like, it's not his experience to go and play there. But having someone on that board who thinks about that then informs like that to happen. So I think it's just how can we do that? How can we add people in who just say, have we thought about this? Like, what about this perspective? Doesn't mean the other perspectives are wrong, but it might just be that we need to look at it from like both sides of the table.
What would and what would your kind of advice be to any? It could be anybody, so it could be young girls, ladies in their early 20s, early 30s, even people that are like 40 plus, etc. Like, what would your kind of message be, or advice, sorry, be to anybody that's potentially looking to start in the game of golf?
I think golf's amazing because you can play it at any level and you can play with any ability. And like we have this handicap system, so it's so different to like going running or playing tennis where you have to have like a certain level of ability or be very matched to the person you're playing with. So I've always loved golf because I could go play with like my grandparents or my brother or my sister or my parents or someone in their like mid 70s from the golf club or someone who's like 12 from the golf club, and like you can have all these different interesting like cross-generational conversations, learn different things, but also just play with a whole variety of people. I think that's one thing that's amazing about golf, and it's something we can do through our lifespan. It keeps you fit and active, and there's so many amazing parts to it. So I don't want like some people have messaged me and be like, interestingly only men, saying you shouldn't talk about the negative side of golf, like you're going to put women off playing. And I think, well, no, I'm trying to empower the voice of women to be like, we can talk about this and we can make change, and if we get this environment better, then more women want to come and join it. And clearly women don't want to join currently, like, because the stats aren't really getting much better. Um, so we need to change that environment up into a way where women want to come and join it, and they can have those great experiences that, like, I've had playing with all different people.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you've managed to travel the world, haven't you? So
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I've had some amazing experiences through golf as well, and it's hard when someone wants you to talk about like negative experiences because people almost feel like because something's negative's happened, something positive can't have happened. And I think like two things can be true at the same time, which is hard for people to get their head around. People always want it to be like black and white, like this is good or this is bad. And it's like, well, there can be good and bad elements that exist at the same time.
right, so we'll finish off with a few kind of general questions. So you mentioned earlier that you managed to you managed to get the job of like reviewing golf clubs, etc. What would you say is the best brand of golf club do you think that you've kind of reviewed during your time?
The best. That's a very difficult question. Like, I, people ask me this a lot because they always want to know like what they should buy, and they're always like, there must be one thing that's better. And I don't really think that's the case, and I think that's why brands bring out so many iterations and have so many like different driver heads or different iron heads because I'm surely a very different golfer to you being a different golfer. Like my grandpa's a very different golfer to my brother. My mum's very different to me or my dad. Like everyone like has different height, different setup, different like posture, different length of clubs, have different swing techniques. So like to me as a drawer of the golf ball, one year a Titleist driver might be absolutely amazing for me, but someone who's a slicer might really not suit that model just because of like the way they've designed it that year. And like the CG is going to be different, the spin's going to be different, like the if it's more fade or draw bias is going to be different. That's always going to suit different players. So to say like this one club is like the best for everyone is like almost impossible to do, and that's why I always try to categorize it in like types of golfer. Um, the biggest thing for me would be like just telling people to go and get fit for clubs because a lot of times people think you're not good enough to have a fit in or you need to get to a certain level, but actually I find like the people who get the most out of a fit in are almost like beginners or newer golfers. And I had my first fit in with ping when I was 12, and the lie angles of my irons have not changed since. So nearly 20 years, I've changed my swing a lot in that time, but there's some things that just very fundamentally stay the same. So there's always benefits of like getting a good setup and like understanding the things that work best for you.
What would you say are your main strengths and weaknesses like in your own game?
Um, I'd say generally distance has always been like pretty much a strength for me, especially depending on like what the golf course setup is. But I've always been able to pretty much hit it a long way, which is helpful in being able to like get on par fives and two and like your scoring holes. Um, I say generally my course management is pretty good. Like I can think my way around a golf course well. So generally a harder golf course suits me where it's more of a thinker's course and you have to plot your way around rather than just being able to kind of bomb it around. And probably like chipping and short game. I met Phil at like the 2006 Hoylake Open. I've actually got a golf ball here he gave me.
Oh,
Um
nice.
yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then I got obsessed with like just copying his flop shots and like doing stuff like that. So I would say now if I end up in a really stupid position around the green, that's probably the most likely I am to get up and down because just my era of copying Phil and trying to pull like loads of crazy different shots off.
And in terms of your putting ability as well, would you say that's a strength or a weakness?
What's that? I actually really like putting, and I would generally say it's a strength, but recently I really struggled with my green reading. Um, which obviously like if you don't know where it breaks from, like you're not gonna hole many putts. Then this year I did aim point and that's actually really, really helped my green reading, which is brought like the confidence with putting back.
And in terms of aim point, what's the main type of things that you're looking on? You're looking at on when it comes to obviously the putting side of it.
So endpoint's basically a system where you use your feet to read the greens rather than your eyes. So you have to
Hmm.
like learn the different percentage of slopes and what they feel like, and then you stand at different points of the putt, so you can feel the percentage, and then you know like if it's 3%, 2%, 1%, and then you hold like the corresponding amount of fingers up, so it gives you a read of like where you should aim. And for me, that's just been so much better. Like sometimes last season I'd look at putts and I didn't even know which direction they were breaking. And that obviously gives you a lot of indecision of the golf ball. So it's nice to have like a really good solid system. And obviously I've only been doing it for half a season, so it doesn't I'm not necessarily perfect at it all the time, but I'm way better than I was using my eyes to read putts for like over 20 years already. And I've only done a few months of it, so I'm only going to get better at that. And even if I'm like I only ever really get like 1% out, which you end up being still very near. And you still commit to the line because like you've given yourself an authoritative like this is the read. I'm going to commit to the putt, and that like over anything is like almost really helpful as well on its own.
Now, I want to know your top five golf courses that you've played, and yeah, don't shoot me here, because it's
Oh, so they have to be in
'cause-
order.
no, it can be any of your top five.
Okay, okay. Pinehurst number 2. That was just incredible. Played that with Golf Pride, because they have their HQ at Pinehurst. That was just unbelievable. Um, I remember watching Michelle Wee win there and watching Martin Keimer win there, and then to be able to go and play it was like such a cool experience. Um, Troon always has to be up there for me. Played it so many times in the Scottish Am, but I still go back and love it and just think it's an amazing golf course. I think probably some of that is like nostalgia as well from playing it in like women's events. People don't like to talk about them, but I do like Turnberry. um, oh, that was that really good golf course. Oh, now it gets tricky, doesn't it? Because I'm running out of it. I love the old course at St Andrews.
Interesting.
People have like a real mixed response to that. I think from the way like we play it as women in tournaments, like the setup the R&A have if we have amateur events there, and the distance women hit it, like it actually plays how it was kind of originally designed. So obviously, if you
Hmm.
go and play it in like the Open, and the men are playing it and they're hitting it, driving it over 300 yards, they're hitting past like a lot of the hazards. Whereas actually, the course kind of plays how it's intended to at my length. And I think the more you play it, the more this you see like the intricacies around the greens and like the little bits of places where it's a really bad to short side yourself there, or you just can't get to that pin from that position. Um, and I kind of really enjoy the challenge of that. Yeah, and I need one more. I can't say another one in Scotland, can
Is there, is there any in mainland Europe?
I? I'm gonna like listen back to this and kick myself because there'll be one that's like really obvious. Um, that I've missed out of my favorites. Can I go through like I have generally have head covers on my bag for like my favorite courses. Um, nah, I'm gonna go for Woodley, which is my home course, as my last one. So yeah,
Unbelievable.
it's not. It's like I've been a member at a few different clubs, but yeah, that is a quality golf course and just like a place. Obviously, Mackenzie's first course, and like every time I go and play there, I just feel lucky that I'm a member there because it's such a fantastic course. It's always in great nick. Like I just think the Heathland looks amazing, especially in summer. Yeah, it's a cool place for people to visit if they've not been.
What are you most looking forward to about going to Royal Melbourne? That'll be an experience like in Australia. Like that's
Yeah, that will
have
be
you
really
uh,
cool.
Have you been before to Australia?
I've never been to Australia, so I'm doing everything in one trip there. I'm going with like a group of women from my club, so it'll be fun. We do like a fun comp with like 13 different Mackenzie clubs who all like go over at the same time. So you get to play with loads of different people, have some like cool dinners, and yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I'm just looking forward to enjoying it, hopefully.
Yeah, and you must looking forward to seeing some koalas, maybe, if you can
Maybe
catch them.
kangaroos, kangaroos. Hopefully, I'm gonna
Here,
catch some of the LET because it's the same month they're over there. So, um, yeah, that would be cool.
here. Speaking about kangaroos, they're scary fuckers, by the way.
Yeah, have you seen the courses where there's like hundreds of them? It's like they're really big as well.
Yeah, when they fully stand up, you're like, wow, you're supposed to be quite cute, but no, you're absolutely jacked. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, don't get attacked by any kangaroos.
hopefully not. And so we'll finish off with what's your favorite part about Christmas?
Oh, my favorite part about Christmas. I really like giving other people gifts.
I'm
So
I'm
that
kind of the same, to be honest. Yeah,
I think it's just nice to like obviously think about people you like love and your family and like what they like and find them a nice gift and then give it to them for Christmas. So yeah. And pigs in blankets aren't bad either.
yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with the food, to be honest. So, like, lots and lots of food and
Yeah.
lots of chocolate, lots of chocolate. Put the weight on, and then keep the weight on. In my experience, but no, like that's definitely a fun time of year. Have you got a favorite Christmas song now? This will be slightly controversial.
No, I'm not sure I do. I've been really behind on Christmassy songs stuff this year as well. My whole algorithm's just like Mariah Carey at the moment. But to be fair, if I was going to pick, I would just go for like the Michael Bublé Christmas album. That's like a classic.
I swear that guy must be the most loaded person in the whole world at this time of year.
Yeah.
Then he fucks off back into retirement.
Yeah.
You don't hear him the rest of the year, apart from Christmas.
Yeah, he came back a bit recently, didn't he? I think his son had been unwell, but yeah, it's definitely him and Mariah are doing well at Christmas time, I'd say.
Whose whose bank account would you like the most? Gino Titicun or Michael Bublé at Christmas?
I think Bubla's probably winning on that one, isn't he?
Probably. Although Gino must be an absolute close to mid-millionaire anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right, Han, it's been a fun conversation, and it was I really do appreciate you coming on during your
No,
busy
thanks for having me.
period. During your busy period, I'm sure you got plenty more content to film and edit and stuff like that. And you were saying 12 hours of editing. That sounds like absolute hell.
Well, yeah, some YouTube videos take a long time, so you just gotta
How do you cope with
crack
the
on with it.
boredom?
Hmm?
How do you cope with the boredom sitting there for 12 hours?
Oh, I recently got a standing desk, so at least I can like move the room about a bit. Um, I just give myself like mini breaks through the day and then yeah, just crack on with it. I guess like the satisfaction of it being done is like what you just driving towards.
Suppose when you're getting thousands of views, I'm sure it's worth it in the end. But
Hopefully.
eh, so when we get you to 1 million subscribers, just remember that you've been on the Chasing Pars Golf podcast. So,
Yeah, I will do.
right, Hannah, thank you very much, and have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year when it comes as well, and all the best for 2026. Hopefully, it's the
Yeah,
best
you
yet.
too. Yeah, fingers
Thank you.
crossed.
Thank you. See you later. Thank you.
Thanks.